All right, it looks like we're back for Star Wars the card game. Here we have Mick on. Hello, Internet.
Hello.
Welcome back to Star Wars the card game. This is the Fantasy Flight live stream. For those of you worried, the unboxing for All That Remains will still be happening today, but it is being pushed back to before Star Wars because we are ahead of schedule. So I am...
A nice surprise.
Yes, much surprise. I'm Evan Johnson. You probably saw me commenting on Star Wars LCG yesterday, and I'm joined...
I'm Zach.
by the wonderful Zach.
The wonderful Zach. I'm going to start adding that to my name before the name happens. So we're here. This is the top four?
This is the top four match of Star Wars the card game. Looks like we got Josh with the Scum and Villainy affiliation there, and Mick with Rebel Alliance.
And it's important to note, going into this, Josh was the 1 seed at the cut, and Mick was the 2 seed. So the two top-seeded players are playing off to make the top 3 at this point.
Yes, that is true.
And one of the more interesting topics of the tournament so far is Mick's running a Rebel deck, and it's got a card in it called
Trench Run.
And there's been some excitement about it because he's been winning a lot of games on trench runs, which is something people aren't ready to see. Looks like he flips Secret here with Mobilize and the Jedi Leia objective
Ties
set.
of Blood.
Yep.
Over on the dark side, we got Council of the Sith.
He just snagged
Droid's
the Yoda. Did you
Task,
see that?
Yeah, and Tatooine Crash, and he did just snag a Yoda. That is super awesome.
Yeah, and this Scum Sith deck is something, I played it this weekend, and it's something a lot of players are playing all weekend long.
Yeah.
The power of the Sith combined with the Galactic Scum seems to be something that's working out for a lot of people.
And I love seeing the Scum cards, getting to see some top caliber tournament play. That is something that I love to see.
Absolutely, and we got the 2 resource enhancement from Saris's objective set hitting the board there. Those are phenomenal resources.
Those are phenomenal resources. They are just pure money. Looks like a Servant of the Dark Side coming down, getting some extra blast power.
And the real money unit, the Galactic Scum.
The Galactic Scum. We like to see that guy. Or Josh likes to see that guy. Mick might have mixed feelings.
He might not be happy about it, but... For those of you who aren't aware, a big part of the deck, a mixed deck, what he's doing is he's trying to get a trench run out, and he's using the asteroid
base. That's right.
Base from Ferris's objective set to give Ewoks a whole bunch of damage somehow.
Yeah, he's got force barriers and all kinds of things to drop shields on his guys. He's changed them out for blast damage. It's crazy. It's super explosive, and we'll see if he can pull it off again.
All right, it looks like Mick's dropping a Yoda. You seek Yoda here. Dial's going to go up, and he's going to search his deck for the other Yoda. And, one of these things about any ability that lets you search your deck, especially when your opponent has captured cards, is it's worth knowing what your opponent has.
Yes.
So it looks like he's scanning his deck there. It should be pretty easy to find Yoda, but I'm sure he's going to take into account the fact that there's only 1 in the deck.
Yep. I have no doubt that he will notice that. Death Star Dial ticking up to 2 as part of Yoda. You seek Yoda. Yoda dropping into play. Ready to face down the dark side.
How about that Yoda?
That Yoda.
That Yoda.
That Yoda, though.
Yep, Dial at 2. It's going to leave Mick with 3 resources. And, Mobilize the Squadrons, I want to talk about that objective for a second.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was in the core set. It was an objective we all used really early on, and it's a really powerful resource if it can stay around. And I think if you're willing to run, Rebel Assault.
Also worth noting, Mobilize the Squadrons, if you're running 2, you get 2 Rebel Assaults, and that is an amazing card, totally worth it, and he's just played it on the Galactic Scum. So it looks like we are deliberating here. That looks like discarding a draw.
Okay. So he played Yoda, you seek Yoda after refresh, and Rebel Assault, so he can draw extra cards, which makes a lot more sense.
Yep.
I was wondering why he was already using it.
Yeah.
But he gets to refresh the Mobilize because it happens in that window, right?
Yes.
So that's a really solid play. He's going to have Yoda, a resource, and it looks like a droid.
Yep. That's a ET-74 communications droid. And a nudge.
And he's going to hit the nudge.
That nudge.
So this is a pretty good start, right? So if he takes the Force here with Yoda, or
as
really with
no
anybody,
doubt will.
that Galactic Scum's going to go ahead and die.
Yep.
Darkseid doesn't have very many ways to prevent that, and he's just going to take the Force.
Right with
and what this deck tends to do, I've seen, you want to block here, you have Ties of Blood, you don't want them to want to attack.
Right.
Or you want them to have to attack but not want to attack because you have Yoda.
Right.
So it kind of just sits around and builds up until it gets Trench Run going, and then it just does a glory run of 1 attack.
Yeah, and we saw it on the stream earlier, and it is a sight to see that Hail Mary to take out the Death Star, and hopefully we'll get to see it again shortly.
Well, for Mick's case, hopefully we see it. I don't know if Josh is going to agree with that sentiment.
This is true. I would like to see Trench Run played, but whether or not it will be successful will be up to the players.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh just snagged a Leia. He's having some really good luck with that Tatooine crash.
Yeah, yep.
Dropping a Ceres. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, he's got 3 fate cards in his hand.
3 fate cards. It just drew a Jawa. It's interesting because it looks like he could have killed the nudge with the thing, and he forgot to do it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a big miss, honestly.
Yep.
But it's kind of risky to go into a turn without any guaranteed units you can play. Right here, if he doesn't play a unit, it's
true.
It's probably over.
Yeah. He's probably just realized what we're talking about, and it might be taking a little while.
It looks like
Slaver cells.
He's doing the damage.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Man.
Okay.
All those 2/2 resources that refresh, but all he's got is a Jawa.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that Ceres drop. Obviously, Heat's really good, Seed's really good.
Yep. You don't want to get rid of them, but
when I see that droid, I'm expecting shields. So shields kind of make tactics and Seeds nowhere near as relevant.
That is definitely true. As I was saying yesterday on the stream, I think tactics is probably the most powerful icon in the game.
By far.
By far.
By far.
But if you can get shields, then those tactics icons, their stock goes way down. So it looks like he's considering an attack here. He's got the Jawa, looking at his options. He probably wants to attack something to avoid that Ties of Blood hit. At the same time, as we discussed, he doesn't want to attack because that Jawa will probably go back to his hand or die.
Yeah, it puts him in a weird spot. But, the nice thing about the Jawa, it's one of my favorite units in the game. When it came out, I was super excited.
Yep.
Is, you can attack and Defender wins ties. So if he decides to block with a committed unit like a Yoda, you just pass, and Jawa, or even if you lose the edge battle, you just bounce him. So I'll be curious to see if he wants to block here.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see what Mick decides to do. So you played in the tournament this weekend.
I did play in the tournament.
So are these decks kind of indicative of the meta of what we were seeing at the throughout the tournament day, or did you go up against some crazy decks?
For me, I played a lot of the same style of deck. There were some interesting choices along the way. I think Josh's Dark Side deck is really indicative of the meta. Looks like he's getting heat here against that droid.
Yep.
That's actually... I'm curious why he would risk the unit here if I'm Mick.
Well...
Because,
yeah.
It's just interesting. Anytime you throw a unit in, obviously the Jawa, you think you can win the edge battle, you can bounce, you can get cards out of your hand.
Yeah, I think that might have been it.
Is going to get it, except for he has a deflect, and that's why he took the chance.
Yep.
So he's going to deflect the damage over there. Jawa's going to strike, and that's going to leave a wide open board for Mick on this next turn.
Yeah.
He's going to have 6 resources.
He is.
Huge play. Deflect is perhaps, it's one of the best cards in the game.
This is totally true.
All right, looks like Mick's sitting in control here. But yeah, Josh's deck definitely is very similar to what a lot of people are running. He's got IG-88 showing, which is not necessarily what everyone was doing. And Mick is running something. He's running Jedi with a very interesting twist, which is the trench run.
And that's been making waves all day, all through the tournament. I talked to him a little bit, and he said that out of 7 games, he got the trench run successfully 6 times.
That is crazy.
Every time he played trench run, he got it. There was one game where he just didn't get until late and decided to just go for objectives. But he has been on a roll.
And I'm looking at his drawback here, and it's really interesting. It looks like Josh drew Palpatine, which is going to be really good for him.
Yeah.
But Mick drew what the Jedi sometimes do, which is a bunch of units that are okay.
Yes.
He drew Protectors, which are great,
Guardians.
and they have shields, so those are good units. He also has an Ewok, which is fine. He has C-3PO, which can obviously cause some pain for your opponent. But ultimately, I don't think he really drew any of the cards he was seriously looking for.
Yeah.
Those Protectors are going to keep his units around a little longer. He's really going to need to draw into a trench run or the asteroid resource, the asteroid base.
Yeah. I think he would definitely rather have seen like a Ferris or something in that draw.
Yeah, he is going to get a poke here and just get a bunch of damage pretty much for free.
Yep.
Because that Jawa bounces.
And that's kind of what this deck does. He hasn't seen trench run yet, so he's just going to poke at the objectives, whittle them down, so that he can go that route if he needs to. He's done a very good job of keeping all of his options open throughout the day. Trench run might be his main win condition or his preferred win condition, but
you can still blow up objectives.
He can still blow up objectives.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see what Josh does to kind of work his way out of this. You know, he's got that new fancy alt-art Palpatine that we all got for playing this weekend.
Very fancy.
It's a beautiful piece of art. And he's got a Jawa, so he's going to have a lot of tactics. And, you know, my goal, if I were facing this deck, and I didn't get a chance to, so I'm kind of sad about that.
Yeah.
But I want to get all of the shield units as focused down as I possibly can.
Yes.
Because one thing the Jedi do lack is the sheer damage capacity of the Rebels or even the Smugglers with all their objectives that basically give you extra damage.
Right.
So they're a little more controlly and they don't win so fast. So if you can just kind of stall, tactics down his shields and not give him a chance to just blow you out. Obviously, Lightside has strong board control right now, so I'll be curious to see if Josh can work his way out. And if anybody can, it'll be him. Yeah.
Looks like Dial going up to 3, capturing, Force Barrier.
Man. You know, I was talking to Josh about this actually this morning, because I knew I'd played him yesterday, and I knew he had Tatooine Crash in the slave trade, and it was like, you know, if you could capture off top of his deck and grab either the trench runs or the asteroid bases, I think Mick's deck's going to have a tough time just getting the job done otherwise.
Right.
So
right.
We'll see what happens. He's been pretty fortunate so far.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like triggering droid task to get rid of that communications droid.
Yep, and you know the protectors there can't protect him. He's a droid.
Right.
And there's not much you can do about that. But that's exactly what you want to do if you're Josh.
Right. Let's see. Got 3 cards captured under Tatooine Crash. If Mick can get that destroyed, he'll get a influx of, as we've seen, some really great units coming back into his hand.
Absolutely. We have a Jawa and a Palpatine coming out here.
Yep.
And it looks like he's only putting 1 on each of those 2-cost resources. We see a lightning in his hand.
Yeah, he's got a lightning. If he takes the Force, he can prime for a lightning on his opponent's turn. Considering his options, he's got a lot of tactics. But Ties of Blood is still out, and so he doesn't want to just take some damage from sitting back and doing nothing.
He has that Seeds, which I think is the most interesting card. What you fear from your opponent here is a twist, because if he can tactics Yoda down, he can win it not only lets him win the Force struggle, but then it lets him kill Yoda with the Force Lightning if he wants to.
Right. Mick looking at the discard pile, as we were saying yesterday, probably a mark of a good player to look at discard piles often.
Absolutely.
Do it often. Look at your own too.
Yeah, I mean by turn 2 or 3 of a game, you should be able to pretty much know all, if not most, of your opponent's deck.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for surprises. Seeing what's in the discard pile and just analyzing the situation. You don't play this long and come this far to get some weird thing that catches you up.
Yeah.
Beautiful play here by Mick. He's going to block with both Shield and Yoda.
Yep.
Which means he's actually going to get a tactics down Palpatine. But twist. And ouch. Oh, that's what you don't want.
That is a good twist.
That was heat and it was Seeds of Decay, which is just brutal.
Yep. I bet Josh is not happy about that.
Yeah, and he's going to save that lightning. And you know the problem here, again, he's going to get that Jawa back, but he's not going to be able to get the Force, which means those resources aren't going to reset.
Yep.
And he's not going to get a lightning.
Yeah, that could have worked out much better for Josh than it did.
Yeah, and you know he's got Palpatine on the board, which is going to be good.
Yeah.
And he really needs probably 1 more turn. Sith, over the weekend, it's very, very common to see them be down on board control like this, and in 1 or 2 turns just have total control. Yeah. So you got to be careful of your Mick, and there's a lot of cards, especially in like Mobilize, Leia's objective, that don't do too much as far as winning you the game. They have a lot of utility cards, so we'll see what he draws. Yep.
He gets some tactics. He could easily focus down Palpatine and make sure that he won't refresh on the next round, which would be...
That'd be a very noble goal.
That would be a noble goal. All right. Looks like he does have Trench Run in his hand, as well as Ferris. 2 Trench Runs, actually. Some Ewoks, an X-Wing. No Asteroid Base, though, so no way to turn all those shields into blast damage.
Yeah, Asteroid Base is a phenomenal card.
Yes.
FFG spoiled the Ferris Olin objective set a while back, and as soon as I saw his whole set, I'm a sucker for event cancel. Yeah. And then a way to get extra objective damage off those shields is phenomenal. So I love it, and that Asteroid Base is insane. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Ferris Olin, he can remove a shield from himself to cancel an event. Asteroid Base, you can remove shields from units to give them either a unit damage or a blast damage. And Mick has been doing that all day to quickly rack up damage, whether on objectives or the Death Star. And this is actually, it could have gone a lot worse here for Josh. He's got Palpatine. Mick only has one tactics on the board, so Palpatine's going to come back, and you never know what can happen.
Yep. Ferris coming in at Tatooine Crash, blowing it up, getting a shield on him, so priming that event cancel, and Mick gets some great cards back into his hand, as we saw earlier.
So now he has Ferris's cancel, he has C-3PO's cancel, he has a bunch of cards for the edge battle.
Yep.
Mick is doing a very good job here, and I think we're seeing why he's made it this far. This deck is brutal and also very unconventional.
Yes. I like how he had those 2 trench runs in his hand and definitely chose not to play them. He's going for objectives in this game, it would seem.
Absolutely.
And he knew that. He evaluated, he made the decision on how he was going to win. And I like to see that.
Absolutely.
Guardian Piece, pinging away.
I think that's you mentioned it, but I think that's a really important lesson where sometimes you get so tied up in a certain way of winning.
Right.
You know, maybe you have a rage in your hand and you want to find a way to really use it.
Yeah.
Or you want to try to seal the game right now, but a lot of times it's worth reevaluating a lot as to what you want to do.
Yeah. Leaving Yoda open to stand in the way of Palpatine or whatever might come down the pipe from the dark side. And hold that force. We want him to do that. That's what Yoda's best at.
Yep. He likes the Force. It's his ally here.
That is what they say.
All right, refreshing. Follow the Jedi.
Follow the Jedi.
Too critical at this juncture in the game.
Yeah.
And at this point, Josh is going to have a phenomenally strong turn.
Yes.
To really make an effort in this game and come
to build up his defenses sufficiently.
Now the question here is, he's got two event cancels on the board. That Sith Lightning is not doing anything for you.
Agreed. I think you might as well discard that to draw at this point, or maybe the droid.
Well, I'd probably follow the Jedi, the droid, and discard the Lightning.
Yeah,
it looks like he's putting the Lightning on the bottom. With Palpatine out, it could be really interesting to have the Lightning in your discard pile, but he got rid of the droid, so we'll see what he gets.
Yep.
All the cards.
Holding cards. That is a wall of light side that is prepared there. I like how the big guys, for the most part, are out front, and all the little chuds are behind.
Absolutely. The shield.
All right, Galactic Scum popping out in their scummy way.
The Galactic Scum are in almost all the dark side decks this weekend.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes deck. That's why it's so insane, is because shields really make their potency way less.
Yeah.
And it's going to make, Galactic Scum's still phenomenal, but it's going to make them way less important in this exchange.
This is true. Yeah, I think that Mick has made a lot of really good choices, looking at the meta or projecting what the meta was going to be, and adapting his own deck to battle a lot of the things that he saw as being common, such as Galactic Scum. Looks like a Jawa coming out as well.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a Slaver and a Force Choke and a Twist. That's actually a pretty good hand. He doesn't have those captured cards anymore, so that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, you would really like to sell those back to the light side for 2 cards, but
absolutely.
An offer you cannot refuse.
Yeah, I think talking about Mick's deck here, a lot of players going into this kind of had this idea that there was a particular, the Force Lock, as it's called, deck that was the top deck, and it's just kind of the best deck, and you run all the same cards.
Yeah.
And it's really just not true. The light side is really powerful right now across all the affiliations.
Yeah.
So because the dark side's going so hard in the direction of Force control to handle that Force deck, there's some real big options open in the meta.
That's certainly true.
Oh man, look at that hand. Oh yeah, he got the Leia and the Yoda back.
And the Force Barrier. All of that. Oh, and he's playing it.
Yeah, after refresh.
Yep.
So he's going to be able to
shield everything, all of his units, all of his objectives.
He's going to need those new fancy shields he just got for making the top 16.
Those are very fancy shields.
Fancy shields.
They look great.
That's a trademark, by the way. I just did it.
And actually, if you're using these tokens, you can block 2 damage or 2 focus. That's a lie. You can't actually do that, but they sure do look great, don't they?
Winning was never more important.
He's out of shields. Can't shield that X-Wing.
He's got a big pile over there.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
X-Wing gets normal shields.
I can see at least 15 shields from where I'm sitting.
At least 15.
And like the shields all around the Death Star dial?
Yeah, I think that Josh might have arranged that as kind of a gesture against fate. He's shielding the Death Star. He doesn't want any trench runs. Oh, trench run popping in. That's an interesting play.
Yeah, he's literally 3 damage away.
Oh, and an asteroid base.
Brutality.
Wow.
Let's see what he does here.
Wow, this is it. This is what this deck does.
It is indeed. He's going for it.
Wow, everybody.
I'm really surprised. I mean, I think he's got it. We'll see what happens.
I would agree with that.
But I don't know. It feels risky.
I
just send any dude you want at the objective that has 1 health at it.
Yeah.
You've got shields. You've got the.
Maybe he wants to go out with style.
If he can do it here, that seems risky. I don't know. I don't know exactly how it's going to work out. I haven't done the math, but.
Well, that is at least, I believe, 8 or 9 potential blast damage. Getting another shield from that Ewok companion, maybe. Yes, he is. So that is 9 blast damage right there.
Yeah, Josh is going to block with all of it. He's got to win the edge battle, and he's got to hope beyond hope.
Yeah, we've got more black blast damage on Yoda
He's
and
throwing
Ferris.
the twist down, twist to twist.
Oh, double
man.
twist. Looks like Josh has got 4 icons. I think Mick has more than that. He has a Jedi Leia in his hand for sure.
Yep.
I think this is going to end in Mick's favor. Yep. Oh, and it was Yoda. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
He had 8.
Yep.
So that's going to be it.
Wow, that is far and away.
I think Josh's only way out there is when Mick lays down the twist, you just pass. Because if you get twisted there, you probably just lose.
Yeah.
Because you know he's got that Yoda, right? Like we saw it happen. So I think you almost have to just hope.
Yep. Palpatine getting aced by Yoda, using pennies to count the extra blast damage.
I'm surprised.
Not sure what all those shields are doing.
Shield around that Death Star.
Shielded even more. Well, their shields were down.
All right, so he's going to do 2 damage here. Probably going to hit something like Nudge that can't get protected.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looks like we're using shields as health for choking out the Nudge. Gonna see what we do here. Yep, taking it out.
Happen. Yeah, he almost went the shield off Ferris on there, but there's really just no reason.
I agree.
It's just extra damage.
With all the unit damage coming down, you can easily get unopposed. I believe unopposed counts with Trench Run. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's like you're attacking an objective.
Yeah. Okay. I'm always confused with how those cards we haven't seen in years work.
It's crazy. It's been 2 years since that came out.
Yeah.
You guys debuted it. The very first Worlds, everyone got a preview copy.
Yep.
And the World's never been the same.
Yep.
Looks like he's going to get it.
More and more damage racking up. This is the Trench Run deck, ladies and gentlemen. Mick is showing us how it's done.
I think the shields around the Death Star were the 10 damage he needs.
Yes. That is what it was. And everyone's just coming in, Ewoks and Guardians, and everyone's piling on. The Death Star is destroyed.
Crazy.
This is the end of A New Hope or Return of the Jedi. Take your pick.
Take your pick. The Trench
The Death Star is destroyed.
Wow, phenomenal
There's the shake.
game. That's a great job by Josh. Congrats on making it this far for being the 1 seed.
Definitely. Top 4.
And man, I am excited to see how far Mick can go. At some point, he's going to have to play Dark Side. It's losing, you're out at this point.
Yep.
So.
But Josh is ending here, and Mick will continue to the top 3.
Oh, man. Top 6 cards of the deck. It looked like Josh was going to draw a Nutini.
Oh.
Which meant he could have captured that asteroid base if he had it. Can you imagine? And that's the risk I'm talking about. Your opponent has cards in hand. You know he's got Nutini. You've seen the Jawa objective.
Yep.
And you send all the guys in.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, all right, I'm going to take away your thing. But obviously he had Ferris with a shield and C-3PO to cancel.
Yes. He had his contingencies in place.
Your opponent would have to have like 3 Utinis, and even then, I doubt that's going to happen.
Can you imagine the Tri-Utini deck?
That is crazy. So, I mean, is there any way we could have predicted that Trench Run would be this successful? I heard about it yesterday, right?
Yes.
You're at a tournament, you hear the murmurings, you hear people talking. It's like, I just got beat by Trench Run.
Yeah.
And Mick is a real player, so I'm so impressed by this.
Yeah, it is truly amazing what Mick has been able to accomplish. He has made a great meta call throughout the day, just being able to nail these trench runs one after another. Kudos to Mick for
Congrats to both
awesome
players.
deck.
They're both phenomenal players. All right, here's the thing, Evan.
All right, what is the thing?
I'm going to tag my brother Tim in for the commentary. I have to go to an interview.
Okay, you go do your interview, and I will see Tim right
Enjoy
here.
the stream. Evan knows what he's talking about.
I will still be here.
And
Tim also knows what he's talking about.
Sometimes. See you guys later.